drama Credo, and this is Group 6, Renaissance Period. Romeo and Juliet, penned by William Shakespeare in the late 16th century, is a tragic love story that has endured for centuries and remains one of the most celebrated works in Western literature. While the play may not explicitly delve into feminist themes, it can be analyzed through a feminist lens to uncover complex implications, especially concerning gender dynamics and societal expectations. Firstly, let's address the historical and cultural context of the play. Romeo and Juliet is set in Verona, Italy during the Renaissance period, a time characterized by strict gender roles and patriarchal structures. Women were largely relegated to the domestic sphere, expected to be obedient daughters and later subservient wives. Marriage was often a transaction between families, with little regard for the desires or agency of the individuals involved.
Now let's move on to the main characters of the play. The central characters are Romeo and Juliet. They are adolescents caught in the crossfire of a long-standing feud between their families, the Montagues and the Capulets. Their love defies social conventions and familial expectations, leading to a series of tragic events culminating in their untimely deaths. In Shakespeare's play, Juliet is just 13 years old while Romeo's age is not explicitly stated but is implied to be around the same. Their youth and innocence make them vulnerable to the manipulations of the adults around them, particularly their families and the patriarchal society in which they live. Juliet's father, for example, sees her as little more than a pawn to be married off for political gain, without any consideration for her own wishes or autonomy. The relationship between Romeo and Juliet can be interpreted as a form of rebellion against the oppressive structures of their society. However, it also raises troubling questions about the dynamics of power and consent, especially given Juliet's young age and lack of agency in the decision-making process.
Thou hast a careful father, child, one who, to put thee from thy heaviness, hath sorted out a sudden day of joy, which thou expects not, nor I looked not for.
Madam, in happy time, what day is that?
Marry, my child, early next Thursday morn, the gallant, young, and noble gentleman, Sir Paris, at St. Peter's Church shall happily make thee there a joyful bride.
Now, by St. Peter's Church and Peter too, he shall not make me there a joyful bride.
Here comes your father. Tell him so yourself.
How now, wife? Have you delivered to her our decree?
Aye, sir, but she will none. She gives you thanks. I would the fool were married to her grave.
How? Will she none? Is she not proud? Doth she not count her blessed, unworthy as she is, that we have wrought so worthy a gentleman to be her bride?
Not proud you have, but thankful that you have. Proud can I never be of what I ate!
Thank me no thankings, not proud
No!
but fettle your fine joints against thirsty legs!
Hear me with patience, but
No! Speak not, reply not, do not answer me!
What about you, mad?
Ye young baggage, disobedient wretch!
Heaven bless him! You are to blame, my lord, to rate her so!
This, you mumbling fool! I tell you what, get thee to church Thursday, or never after look me in the face, and you be mine. I give you to my friend, and you be not hang, beg, starve, die in the streets. Trust to it. Bethink you, I am not be persuaded!
The arranged marriage subplot revolves around Juliet, the young daughter of the Lord and Lady Capulet. Despite being barely into her teenage years, Juliet's parents see her marriage as a crucial alliance to solidify their status and power. They have already made plans for her to marry Paris, a nobleman of their choosing, whom they believed would be a suitable match. However, Juliet's own desires clash with her parents' expectations when she falls deeply in love with Romeo, a member of the rival Montague family, at a masquerade ball. Their love is immediate and intense, but it also is forbidden due to the enmity between their families. Juliet's arranged marriage to Paris becomes a major source of conflict as she tries to navigate between her duty to her family and her love for Romeo. Ultimately, she takes drastic measures to avoid the forced union, resorting to a fake death to escape the marriage ending with Romeo. This tragic misunderstanding leads to a series of events that culminates in the play's devastating conclusion. The theme of arranged marriage in Romeo and Juliet highlights the clash between societal expectations and individual desires, as well as the consequences of familial and societal pressures on young love. It serves as a backdrop to the central love story, emphasizing the complexities and sacrifices involved in navigating relationships within a rigid social structure.
Now, let's explore the implication for feminist theory, particularly in relation to the ideology of pedophilia. While the term pedophilia typically refers to an adult sexual attraction to a prospective children, it can also apply to the situation where there are significant power imbalance between partners, such as in the case of Romeo and Juliet.
From a feminist perspective, Romeo and Juliet can be seen as a critique of patriarchal systems that deny women agency and autonomy over their own lives. Juliet's tragic fate serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of forcing young girls into marriages and denying them the freedom to make their own choices. In analyzing the play through a feminist lens, it's important to acknowledge the complexities of the characters and their motivations. While Juliet is portrayed as a strong-willed and passionate young woman, her agency is ultimately limited by the social and cultural norms of her time.
In conclusion, while Romeo and Juliet may not explicitly address feminist issues, its portrayal of gender dynamics and the consequences of patriarchal oppression can be analyzed through a feminist lens. So by examining the play in this context, we can gain a deeper understanding in the ways in which literature reflects and shapes societal attitudes towards gender, power, and agency. While the Romeo and Juliet, not explicitly feminist in nature, offers a nuanced exploration of gender dynamics and the repercussions of patriarchal oppression through Juliet's defiance of her parents' arranged marriage plans and her pursuit of love with Romeo. The play showcases moments of female agency within a societal marked by rigid gender roles. So, Juliet's actions subverts traditional expectation of female positivity, illustrating the complexities of navigating love and autonomy within a patriarchal framework. The arranged marriage subplot underscores the unequal power dynamics between men and women, with Juliet serving as a pawn on her parents' political and social games. This analysis, viewed through a feminist lens, sheds light on broader societal attitudes towards gender, power, and agency in Shakespearean literature. By examining the play in this context, audiences gain insight into the ways literature reflects and shapes perceptions of gender roles and the importance of challenging oppressive social norms to create a more equitable society for future. So that's all. Thank you.